Welcome to the show, Paradigm Review Show, Dune 2021, Dune 2021, Denis Villeneuve, stacked roster, Josh Brolin, Jason Momoa. I'm interested to see what you guys thought of Timothée Chalamet's performance. I wasn't overly impressed with him. All I'm seeing online is that this guy is the most translucent, incredible, transformation actor that there's ever been. I mean, I'm not saying he was bad or anything like that. I just think it's pretty hard to mess up the role of Paul Atreides. Quite frankly, I like Brian McLaughlin in Dune 1984 better. So we can start off with that. But let us know what you guys think. There's a lot to deal with in Dune. Here's my collection here, guys. We're not going to talk about Star Wars anymore. We're going to talk about Dune, and don't talk to me about Dune if you haven't read the majority of these. If you're not a next-level Dune fanboy like I am, we got nothing to say here, guys. I read all these, so...
2 chapters, Dune, then I came back.
Yeah. Gaz almost did it, but he didn't quite get there. Dune number 1 is like over 500 pages. Dune number 6 is Chapter House Dune. That's over 400 pages. I don't recommend that you guys wait a lot of years between reading 4 and then 5 and 6 like I did, because it gets extremely confusing with the thousands and thousands of years Dune timeline. Anyway, welcome to the show. Let us know what you think of Dune below, and if you want to join us in the live stream, guys, or drop any comments, and of course, drop your comments below. Like, sub, share, click the bell for notifications. So, first and foremost, yes, Dune is a novel by Frank Herbert. It's the epic science fiction genre piece. I got to watch this documentary. It's my understanding that there's a documentary about when they tried to make Dune the first time with the Spanish director, and they were looking at getting Pink Floyd for the score, but they had everyone from Orson Welles and all these other people involved. Make a long story long, it didn't get off the ground, and then we were left. We'll start off with Dune 1984. I'm really interested in Dune Part 2 for Denis Villeneuve, Mac, of who plays that Sting character, because it's going to be hard-pressed to find an actor that is more over-the-top than Sting. I will kill him! Sting, when he plays the Harkonnen brother. A lot of people were complaining about the loincloth knife duel with Paul Atreides and the Harkonnen brother, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Go ahead.
I was gonna. You said it before me, man. So all good.
Yeah, I think Dune 1984 is absolutely epic in my opinion. Like I said, I quite like that Paul Atreides more than the one in this one. Granted, I like every single thing about this new remake a lot better than that movie.
Yeah, like Kyle MacLachlan, they actually did a good job on that. Just because he captured more of like of someone that is trying to learn to rule. And then once it gets to the very end and all that, you see he took his destiny into his own hands, and just became where he was wanted to be,
Absolutely. Nah, man, and David Lynch, incredible filmmaker, right? The guy's a genius, loved Twin Peaks. It's unfortunate that he got treated the way he did by the studio, because he ultimately ended up taking his name off the film. I mean, one thing I like about it, if you watch the Dune 1984 extended special edition director's cut, whatever the hell they call it, you'll get a lot more of the original Dune book. But like I said, it's like upwards of 400 pages. So even in that movie, you don't get everything. But we'll get to this at the end. But that's really my only problem with Dune 2021 Part 1 is that when it kind of drifts off at that final act, it's just like kind of goes nowhere, and you're like, okay, well, he said Part 1 in the beginning, so I guess I know what they're going to do. But that's probably my only criticism, to be honest. I think everything else is nearly flawless.
Yeah, and I think that's what I gotta say also, like especially when someone like what's his face, Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's holding this whole story,
right,
on that one character's shoulders,
carrying it.
And it's like, I know he's trying to give it his best on this one, and I think this one right here, I think it's just a learning process for him in the end of the day. And I think
it's his first big.
He didn't do too bad in this one, but I'm sure whatever he might have stumbled on, he'll definitely pick up on the second one.
I agree.
I agree with that. I think if he didn't have such strong supporting actors around him, which have carried him, it would stand out that he's not terrible, but he looks a bit weak for that part as well. So let's hope that he grows into it more in the second one
he
and
looked
looks
like
a stronger
freaking
presence.
Edward from freaking Twilight.
Got him!
Bro, I was just thinking that, honestly, man, I was thinking it was like watching someone from Twilight.
A lot of people have said that. Now, I don't know where Timothée Chalamet came from. I haven't seen his previous work. Again, I don't think he's bad. I mean, I think it's such a cool character that it's like, it's very hard to mess it up. Quite frankly, I think Rebecca Ferguson had a better performance as his mother.
She was good.
Yeah, the Bene Jesuit initiate. I thought she was really good. We finally got Mac on board for Jason Momoa. As you guys know, I'm a reformed Jason Momoa fanboy. But again, Duncan, I didn't go.
He was okay in this one. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, honestly, like, he didn't hurt the film too bad.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, he used sparingly, he can do it. Like, I think if Mac watched Frontier, like me and you watch Frontier, guys, I think Mac would like Jason more. Again, he's got a lot of things that we're not big on, but he's all we got, Mac. I mean, he's representing the native people for us. So I mean, every time there's a native role, they're just going to keep bringing him back. So you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I agree. I would compare it to like a Mark Hamill. I would compare Chalamet to like a Mark Hamill in A New Hope, where you watch A New Hope and you're like, okay, he went from picking up, power converters at the Tashi station to when you see him in Empire Strikes Back and he slices a Wampa's hand off, you're like, okay, he's growing on me. He has a strong ending at the end of Empire. And then when he comes into Return of the Jedi as a Jedi Knight, you're like, okay, this guy's one tough badass. So if we could get that out of Timothée Chalamet in this Dune trilogy, we might be onto something.
You never know. They might do a scene like from the 1984 original where he's like Patrick Stewart on top of the sandworm shouting "Atomics."
So good, Patrick. Yeah, can we get some Sir Patrick Stewart in here, please? Because he might be the best guy in Dune 1984.
I gotta ask y'all, man. Comparison, Josh Brolin obviously is the same character as Patrick Stewart was.
Yeah.
Compared to the two, what do you guys think? Like, I won't say did better, but
you first, guys.
Like brings the character out more.
Well, this is a tough one because I like both actors, and Patrick Stewart is absolutely epic. I'm gonna say I prefer Patrick Stewart, even though Brolin was good. Brolin was, I think, come across as more your seasoned vet. Stewart, yes, did that, but it definitely had more presence with. And his leadership quality stood out more. So I'm going to go Patrick Stewart from the original. That's no slight on Brolin because he was still dope.
Oh, man, it's tough. I'm a fanboy of both. Currently, I think I'm more of a active Josh Brolin fanboy just because of cable. I think Sir Patrick Stewart got more screen time in Dune 1984. But I like Josh Brolin's charisma. I could have used a little bit more Brolin in this. I mean, I guess it's not a big deal if we do spoilers on this because it did come out a while. First of all, you guys should have read the book anyway. So if you haven't read the book, pause this review, go to the store and buy the book. Read it completely, watch both movies, then come back and finish this review. But friggin' yeah, no, I mean I like them both. It's a tough one. There's a lot. One that I would raise is I really want to get into the Fremen and Javier. I had big hopes for Javier Bardem, and he looked so freaking cool as such a tough badass. See if I can. He was Stilgar. Stilgar is one of my favorite characters in Dune. And I could have used a lot more Stilgar in this picture. I could have used a lot more Javier Bardem. When I saw him announced, I was like, dude, Javier Bardem is the shit. And he most often plays a villain in Hollywood. So Stilgar is a epic anti-hero, I guess, kind of good guy. So that was a little bit different.
Yeah,
but
I think he fit the character pretty good in this one.
I agree.
Seeing the resume the actor did and all that. If you guys don't know who Javier Bardem is,
Bond villain.
You don't know No Country for Old Men or the Bond villain. Yeah, what was it, Skyfall, right? So
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would definitely.
I mean, it's stacked, guys. Quite frankly, I mean, right off the bat, who do you guys think had the best performance in the film? Because I'll tell you who I think it was. I think it was my guy Stellan Skarsgård, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen.
Yeah, he was good.
He wasn't over the top like Bear in 1984. They used him super sparingly, but he just came across as the most insane, heartless, calculated villain. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I got to go look up what else he's in and what else he's done now, because he was freaking ridiculous in this picture.
Yeah, man, for sure. I think he was also in other movies like he was in Ronin. I don't know if you know that. He was the German that portrayed Nero and Jean Reno. So yeah,
I like Ronin.
And Hunt for Red October, I think. So yeah, he's been the villain in a lot of movies himself too.
Yeah, he's in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
That too, yes.
He's in a lot of stuff. Yeah, he was. I don't know. I think this is maybe the best I've ever seen him do. That character was so nuts to me. Like, I was like, damn, man, freaking.
Well, he had that presence when he was on screen. He was really menacing, and there was a part, spoiler alert, where you think he's dead and he's like bathing in that kind of oil slick bath, and then he rises. That was a really good, well shot scene, and I think that's when he it's very good how he delivers his lines in that scene, which encapsulates what you've just said perfectly. I
think how he delivered his line in every scene was freaking amazing. Like, he just had a couple lines, and they would just gloss back over him, and I'm like, can we bring the Baron back? I want to see what the hell he's talking about. Like, I don't give. He's just floating around this room in the shadows like a lunatic. I'm like, this guy's a maniac. Let's get into
I also want to mention David Bautista in this one, man.
Oh, yeah, he was all right, actually.
The Beast.
Yeah.
The Beast of
I don't know what is it about him, man, but he's grabbing really good roles lately, man.
He's awesome. He's the man. That's what it is about him. He's becoming the GOAT.
Oh, hell yeah. I'll say that.
I mean, we've always been fans of him, right? I mean, we shouted him out in Bushwick. We had him. He played that Bond villain role.
Blade Runner.
Yeah, he was awesome in Blade Runner. In recent years, I've been seeing him freaking do amazing. The scene that Gaz mentioned, who here on my channel is an Apocalypse Now fanboy? Let me phrase it like this. If you're not an Apocalypse Now fanboy, unsubscribe to my channel and block my channel, because I don't want you watching my content. But if you are an Apocalypse Now fanboy, you came to the right place, and we're going to give you exactly what you need. So we were just discussing off air the scene that Gaz just mentioned when Baron Harkonnen, spoiler alert, you guys can fast forward this if you need to.
That's why I said it.
You should already know. Yeah. That when the Duke is assassination attempt, he has this scene where he basically has a reverse assassination attempt on Baron Harkonnen, and I my whole life I've always said Harkonnen guys. Apparently they said Harkonnen in the movie. So whatever, I'm gonna keep saying it how I say it, guys. But so the Baron is essentially injured. I think it happens in Dune 1984 as well. He goes to in this healing sludge. That is the shot for shot side by side comparisons are on YouTube. If I can find it for you guys, I'll tag it and I'll put it in the cards. But the Colonel Kurtz assassination that me and Mac were just talking about, when Martin Sheen comes out of the river with the machete, that's very similar to Baron Harkonnen coming out of the healing sludge. And also the other one when Baron Harkonnen is first introduced and he shoots him through the mist. Mac and I were just saying that's very similar. He has basically the same hand gestures that Marlon Brando has when he's pouring the water on his head and rubbing the top of his bald head as Colonel Kurtz. When Martin Sheen first meets him in Apocalypse Now, it's basically instead of shadows, which Francis Ford Coppola used, Denis Villeneuve used mist, which I thought was genius. And he rubs his head and he wipes his eyes, and I recognize it right away. I was like, Apocalypse Now, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. So I tend to do that whenever there's an Apocalypse Now reference, guys. If you didn't get the Apocalypse Now reference, or if you haven't seen Apocalypse Now, again, just turn my channel off. Don't watch it. I don't care if you see my content or not.
I like it just based off the fact it makes since Apocalypse Now was like a dark film, it makes it feeling more like mysterious and more like villainous. I like like that. Those incredible references, though.
It's also a war epic. Dune's a war epic, so it's kind of like a sci-fi Apocalypse Now.
and it's got epic speeches. You know, Apocalypse Now had, Dune has. Part,
Yep.
as you said, when Colonel Cuts is stroking his head and the makeup on everything, and he's like contemplating, you know, when he meets Matt and Sheen as well, and they're going back and forth.
Yeah.
It gives it that, not only an insight in the characters, but it gives it that depth, that grittiness, because this is what June 2021 had for me. It had that gritty and realness, like we're on this spice planet, harsh environment. There's the threat from the Harkonnen. I've always said it the way you have as well, Ross.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's danger, there's danger, and it just made it feel somehow alive and gritty, that you could imagine there is a far off planet somewhere where this is happening.
Oh, hell yeah. So let's get into the planet. So a little bit of background on Dune, guys, is like, as we mentioned, Paul Atreides is the heir to the throne of House Atreides, of which his father is Duke Atreides, Duke Leto, who leads the House Atreides. They are basically the rivals of House Harkonnen, which previously had control of Arrakis, where all the spice in the universe is mined. And then there's also an indigenous tribal people, species, race that lives on Arrakis called the Fremen, you know, free men. And the Emperor basically, essentially, spoiler alert, sets up House Atreides to fail because he takes House Harkonnen off of the assignment and gives it to Duke Leto Atreides. Can we talk about that scene when they all meet up for the royal decree and sign the scroll, and they do that whole ceremony of like him accepting the mission? Even though it was like just a small, like nearly pointless scene, it just looked awesome. It looked incredible. Like I wanted to be invited to that ceremony. I was like, this
I want to call it pointless because it kind of shows how the galaxy, government works now.
True.
Around that time, you know. So
it was just a lot of pageantry, but the way it looked was freaking incredible.
No, of course, I agree.
Like Max said, it sets up the mission, so now you know what Duke is doing.
It showed you the scale as well, just how grandiose everything is. So that was excellent, and that's the one of the biggest, I think, qualities on this movie, apart from all the other stuff, is the cinematography. The way this thing was shot, man, it just blows your mind. And the discussé people, look, I'm going to say it now, if you've been tired with Disney, Star Wars, and all that terrible, fartful stuff,
turn it off.
Turn it off. You've got to watch this. Just literally watch this, and you'll be blown away. Come
to Death Row. If you're tired of Mickey Mouse dancing around in the music videos, come to Death Row and come to Denis Villeneuve Dune. You know what I mean? But So I guess just to break it down quickly for you guys, quick synopsis. What makes Paul Atreides like the most interesting man in the world and the Luke Skywalker of the Dune universe is like, to use the Star Wars metaphor, as Gaz said, you know, the whole Anakin Skywalker is the chosen one, the whole messianic chosen one theme. It's like, it's much more fully realized in Dune because not only is Paul the heir to the throne of his own house to be the Duke, but he's also like a possible, contender for Emperor of the Universe. At the same time, his Bene Gesserit witch tribe, his mother is this another ancient mystic order that has its own agenda, totally separate from whatever House Atreides is doing, taking missions from the Emperor. So she's training Paul with the voice, which is the Bene Gesserit power, and I think they don't train men. If I have that right,
that's
so
right.
By her training Paul, that basically is like embracing of the messianic theory. As well as Paul having visions of the future, not always of which are the future. He has visions of several futures, which I find extremely interesting. We're going to get into that when he does his Fremen initiation. But then he joins up with the Fremen. Well, then he's like, they have their own prophecy of a Messiah. So now you have each faction having their own Messiah prophecy, and it looks like Paul is lining up to achieve each one. Freaking awesome, man! So much better than Star Wars. Like I can't even explain it.
Oh hell yeah! And there's a good important central core message with this as well. When Paul, and this is in the book as well, when he meets I think isn't she the leader of the Bene Gesserit who does the
Queen Mother, I think, something
yeah,
like that.
and he has to put his hand in that box, and that's when he sees the visions and everything.
It's the test.
And there's the famous quote, "Fear is the mind killer," which anybody who's into metal has seen this being used in numerous metal albums. I think Fear Factory possibly used it on one of their albums, that quote, for a song. And that central theme pretty much runs through the whole of Dune. Fear is the mind killer. Obviously, believe in yourself, have confidence, etc. There's a really good spiritual balance with this movie as well on both sides.
Absolutely, yeah. She was the Reverend Mother, and apparently she's an extremely old Hollywood epic actress as well. It's Charlotte Rampling, and there was a lot of talk about how Denis chose to have her face covered in that Bene Gesserit veil. And the big thing was like, here you have this famous, epic, legendary actress, and her face is covered in the scene. But he said her performance was so good with the covering that he didn't want to change it. You know what I mean? So it's like just little freaking
things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
They just help the film.
Yeah, little things like that just make this film incredible. As Gaz said, cinematography, the framing, the scale. You have these massive spaceships. The way that space travel is displayed. The sandworms, and we haven't even talked about those. We could get into those later. But when you have these massive sandworms or one of the massive ships, he does a really good job of. I saw a YouTube breakdown that pointed this out. That if there's a massive ship or a sandworm, you'll have like a couple small characters right in front of it in the forefront of the shot, and then something massive in the background. It gives you a really good idea. Like I saw it on IMAX, guys. There was a big controversy with Dune of Denis fighting against the studio because during pandemic they were going to try to leak it on streaming, and he shot the film on IMAX for IMAX, and he was like he fought to get this film. This film was delayed for years after they filmed it. Multiple problems while filming because of pandemic. Set shut down. He wanted to do reshoots. He couldn't do reshoots because they left set. This is the first film that Denis Villeneuve used a second unit on. He's like a doesn't want to use a second unit guy, because if you've seen his previous work, Blade Runner 2049 and Sicario, like he's obviously a genius visionary. And this was just so big that he needed the second unit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's doing stuff that he doesn't even do as a director to get Dune done. You know what I mean? That right there says a lot. But if you guys get the chance, if it's still in theaters, you should go see this. I'm gonna try to rewatch it on streaming just to see, compare the difference and see what I think. But dude, get down there to the theater, guys, and go see this. If you're a sci-fi head, you have to see this. If you're looking for the Star Wars replacement, you have to see this. If you like Blade Runner, Denis Villeneuve, Sicario, go see this movie. You know what I mean? It's got, like we said, it's got everyone. Momoa, Isaac, Oscar Isaac, friggin' our boy Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem, like Max said, Dave Bautista. Freaking get down there. Even Jamis. I mean, is there any? Do you guys want to jump in on the lore? Do you want to just do plot points? How do you guys want to do this thing?
I mean, I would say this though. People that want to make comparisons from the old one to this one and all that. Sure. They need to be aware though, like even though the old one was a lot longer than this one, the old one was like they try to squeeze as much detail as possible into that.
It's tough to do.
Which is tough to do, exactly. And I guess that's why David Lynch had such a problem with the film, because he wanted to get down to the nitty gritty of it all and split it in two. And obviously the studio wasn't having it, so and so they wanted them to rush it, get it out, all that, get the whole story out there. But this is the new one, though. I think people are going to be pleased on the fact that it's going to get into everything that's supposed to be getting, and stretching it out to a series.
Take a little more time with it.
Exactly.
Exactly. Other than like the last act of this movie, which if you haven't read the book, it can drift off into a weird, awkward ending, which I've seen mixed, some people being kind of like, what the hell's going on? And other people being like, whatever, I was cool with it. Let's talk about the music, guys. Hans Zimmer, one of the best scores I think I've ever heard in my life. Ridiculous. And this is why you need to see it IMAX, because you got to hear the sound. If this doesn't win sound editing, I don't know what can, because this is probably the best sound edited film I've ever seen in my life, and I'm not joking. You know what I mean?
I'm going to put this quick question to you then. Yeah, epic composers, do you think this is Hans Zimmer's best score since Gladiator? Because I do.
I think so.
It's better. Yeah.
I think it's better. Yeah. I mean, Gladiator is amazing. It's really hard to compare the two of them, but I don't know if anything could be. This could be one of the best scores I've ever heard, short of John Williams and some of the original classic science fiction that we were all raised on. I mean, but Mac knows scores really well.
Yeah, I mean, Zimmer, he did like a lot. Like he did
a lot.
Tide, he did Inception, he did The Dark Knight.
He did a lot. Like, Dark Knight's epic.
But this right here, I think I kind of lean toward what Gaz is saying and all that, because it's more orchestrated towards, like, since they're getting every like plot detail of the movie and all that, there's gonna be some scenes where it's gonna be like, tragic. Some scenes was gonna be like very dark. The music just jumps right
emotions.
In. Exactly.
The moods,
and it sticks with the mood. The music sticks with the mood. The score, all that. So
definitely.
And I mean, I'll say the weirdest thing about this movie. I know I'm jumping off to something else here. I think the only weirdest thing about this movie was just like the transport ships and all that, looking like a bunch of crickets and all.
The dragonflies. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I gotta say I like it. So to give the audience a little background on Dune, if there's any sci-fi nerds bigger than me, which I doubt, you're welcome to try to correct me in the comments. But if I'm not mistaken, as Gaz said, Dune sets the precedence for Star Wars because the spice of Dune exists in the Star Wars universe. You've heard Han Solo talk about being a spice smuggler. That's the spice from Dune, guys. So that's Star Wars is like a younger, just another galaxy away from Dune. You know what I mean? So it falls. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if you guys know Isaac Asimov, iRobot sets the precedent for robotic android laws in the science fiction universe, and Star Wars actually abides by that. I believe Dune does as well, because if you notice in Dune, as Mac just said, the Dragonfly style transports by House Atreides, there's no artificial intelligence in Dune, because previously in the Dune timeline, there's like a uprising war against all the robots and the machines. So they redevelop human technology so it doesn't have to rely on computers. So there's no it's a lo-fi, low tech, high tech universe where they don't rely on computers for anything. A lot of people don't know that,
Yeah, and it's had an influence on 40K as well, because there is what they're called, the Skitarii, who are based on Mars, who like worship the machine cult.
I think I've heard of that.
And they've got that influence, but the whole universe have. Sick. Okay, 40K is very religious driven. It's kind of like the medieval crusades in space, but it's the same, that low and high tech base of technology in space.
Yeah, so that's why you have the Mentat character when Duke Atreides asks him like how much for the blah blah blah, and he rolls his eyes back and he does the computation in his mind, and he's like and he gives him the exact number. Those characters are called Mentat. I guess it was a different character in 1984, but yeah, I love the Mentats. It's like everybody has an epic lore, and I think out of all of them, I think the Fremen is the most interesting. We definitely have to talk about their still suits and the water recycling technology, their fighting style. Literally everything about them is epic.
That was epic.
My favorite thing about Duncan Idaho is how Duke gives him the assignment to, spoiler alert, you feel free to skip this or pause. The Duke gives him the assignment to not infiltrate, but basically offer a peace treaty to the Fremen. Like, you should go see how they survive on Arrakis, blah, blah, blah. And he learns about it because the Harkonnen wasn't doing that. Their policy was just to kill anybody that gets in the way of the spice. It was pure brutality, you know what I mean? Pure insanity. Whereas I like how Duke Leto Atreides was going to take a different approach to how they were going to, they're like, obviously the Fremen look at everybody who comes as like outworlders who are just coming from the spice, and they don't care about the planet. They don't care if we die or not. That's why the sandworms just eat them in mass, whereas the Fremen are able to have a symbiotic relationship with the sandworms. You know what I mean? Like they know how to, coexist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say right there. how they were able to coexist with each other.
Sick.
You know, like
Sick.
you know,
Like,
they have different cultures of how they, you know, of their worlds and their armies and such. But in the end of the day, the Fremen, they're more like you said, like they're more like native and tribal to, you know, to their planet. Not to mention being able to adapt to a planet full of spice, which too much of it, like too much of it can mutate you, or too much like overwhelm you. Yeah, it's definitely like interesting. You know, they got the glowing blue eyes, everything on there. So,
sick. The blue eyes are awesome. I love everything about the spice and the Fremen. I think they're the best species.
As a matter of fact, I'll go on so far to say this. That's one thing that Star Wars was missing right there. When they were explaining about the Force, they didn't really explain it too well, but just called it like a mythos. You know, like Obi-Wan explained it like it was a mythos.
Yeah, the midi-chlorians inside of you.
The midi-chlorians and such. But then when you got Dune just says it right then and there. It's a spice.
It does, and also it's multi-layered, as Mac was saying, right? Because when you watch these other Dune sequels, or if you've seen the series that Gaz mentioned, or if you read all the books, you'll see there's a lot more to the relationship between, as Mac said, the effect that the spice has on you as humans, as living creatures, taking too much of it, having these other adverse effects on you, the relationship between the spice and the sandworms, because you're going to find out later, spoiler alert, that they're one and the same. It's a whole hierarchy of what the spice does, not just it being the most sought after resource in the universe. A whole bunch of other things that come along to it. Mac, I remember back in the day you were asking me about the Traders Guild, and those creatures that are floating in the orbs, and they basically don't. If I'm not mistaken, the internet nerds are probably going to check me on this, but those are either ancient humans who like just overloaded on the spice to the point that they developed into that altogether other race, which is basically a byproduct of like overwhelming yourself on the spice, and it also enables space travel. Like without the spice, the Trader Guild is not able to basically navigate the star systems. You know what I mean?
But that's good, because it shows like even like species from other worlds and all that could be affected differently.
Exactly. It's way more advanced than Star Wars, guys. Like you have to get into it. I waited so long when I heard like this movie was coming out and Denis was doing it. I was just like, after seeing Blade Runner, I was just like, I don't even think Blade Runner is good as Blade Runner 1, but like Gaz was saying, the cinematography, his film work, like this guy is one of the best directors I've ever seen. The fact that he did Sicario, which is awesome. I mean, you know, the whole cartel, hyper violent, Benicio del Toro thing might not be your thing, but me and Mac are huge fanboys of it, so it worked for us. You know what
Sicario
I mean?
2 especially, which I actually liked better.
And Brolin, well, him reusing these actors, Brolin, Batista, like Mac said, Denis knows what he wants, you know what I mean? Because like when you put on for that guy, he's like, I'm bringing you back for the next one, and makes it epic.
Exactly. Not to mention Gaz mentioning like how it influenced like a lot of things that we, even in video games like 40K. And also Killzone, Killzone with you know what I mean, the two factions like that, and just but Killzone was more like planetary conquer.
Totalitarian. I mean, but those guys have a very Harkonnen look to them with those gas masks. That's a very Sardaukar look,
They're
like the Harkonians, and while the ISA, they were like the House of Atreides.
Yeah.
So I've been... Go ahead, guys.
I was going to say, even all the vehicles of the Hellgast as well.
Yep. Good call. So I've been telling Mac about the Sardaukar for years, and how I think that they're the most epic science fiction samurai of all time. The expansion that Denis did into the Dune lore in this film, because you don't really get much Sardaukar in Dune 1984. You get a little bit more in that Sci-Fi Channel series, but they went to the Sardaukar planet and had their language. Dude, I was crapping my pants in the theater. I was like, is there a TJ Maxx next door where I could buy some boxers? Because I soiled myself 20 minutes into the film. So that was absolutely ridiculous. Like I was like, bro, fucking, and just the fights, like there's so much nut stuff. Good.
I thought they were epic. Two scenes I thought were really well done. This is going back a bit. The opening attack from the Harkonnen on the Atreides, the way they showed that artillery barrage.
When they bombed the fucking dude, that was nuts, man.
That was amazing.
The explosions in the sky and the falling, burning ships. I'm like, dude, what is the budget of this movie? It looks like Denis spent $20 million on that scene alone. You know what I mean? Like,
and I like how the fight scenes also are just more physical contact and not some CGI.
I do, but if there's one thing I'm going to criticize him on as Denis Villeneuve, I know you're never going to see this, but from a random nerd on the internet, I would like to send a message to you. Those cube shields, I mean, honestly, did we come that far along on those from Dune 1984? Because I would expect in like 40 years of film technology, we could have did a little bit better on those cube shields. Every time I saw those, I was like, dude, it kind of looks exactly the same as David Lynch's, and it's been a long time.
You guys, the only difference was just the shields in 84 actually looked like cube shields, while this one just looked like a bunch of holographic, like, movements.
These ones were a little Minecrafty, in my opinion, but I that's me nitpicking. I'll admit it to me. You got me.
Yeah, but I think because the action scenes were so good, it kind of it made me overlook that. I mean, one of my favorite scenes actually was Jason Momoa when he was in that corridor.
Yeah, Duncan Idaho.
He was fighting one by one. Yeah, that was amazing, man. That was a really good scene. Yeah.
That was a sick fight. I like that part. I like how in the beginning of that fight, when the Sardaukar, I like how they float down with like the zero gravity.
Like paratroopers.
They paratrooped in and they thought they were going to do something cool at the siege, and then those Fremen just snapped out of the sand and completely, like, first of all, you think you're going to sneak up on a Fremen base on their own planet? Like, no. Like, they're not going to have security. Like, it's clearly not going to work. But yeah, I do like that scene. Again, there's so much in the movie that there's really not much to nitpick. I'll say that much. But yeah, so essentially, guys, House Atreides gets sent to Arrakis, which everyone calls Dune. And then they have to pick up after the whatever the Harkonnen have left behind, but they've essentially sabotaged all the equipment. You also have giant sandworms that like to eat the miners, so the mining machines. And if you know how big the mining machine is, you know that the sandworm has to be way bigger than that to freaking swallow the thing whole. So ultimately, Paul and his mother, Lady Jessica, are sent on the run after his family is put under attack from all the assassination attempts and betrayal. And they ultimately, Paul has been like studying the planet. He's been studying the Fremen. I do like that. Mac mentioned the holographs. I do like that holographic documentary that he's watching about the Fremen, with how you need to walk with the off-kilter sand walk that they do to not attract. Basically, if you walk on the sand in like a 1, 2, 3, 4 step rhythm, you'll attract the worm, because it's kind of like the movie Tremors, guys. Like it's a cheesy reference, but if you know how
that's true.
Sense you and come out of the ground, it's a similar concept. And so ultimately, him and Lady Jessica come across the Fremen outfit, which is Stilgar once again, who you're introduced to earlier in the film when Duncan Idaho brings him to meet House Atreides. And I just want to talk about Jameis, the character. Basically, Lady Jessica disarms him, and he gets pissed that he's been disarmed by an Outworlder. And I just want to talk about that. I think it's near the end, what would be the end of Dune Part 1. And I just want to talk about this scene a little bit. You do see this duel in Dune 1984. I think it's much better, well done in this one. It's like a sundown, a grimy freaking knife fight duel on the rocks in a sundown dusk setting. And how
I'm
Paul,
gonna be real with you, man. At first I almost thought like, nah, this can't be the knife fight yet. But then I'm like, okay, you know what? Nah. I was wrong. So
what were you thinking? Sting? The Sting?
Yeah, like I thought it was gonna be the Sting fight. Like, nah, this can't be it.
I will kill him. I love. Shout out to Sting. Shout out to Sting. We might, if you guys want us to do a Dune 1984 review, put it in the comments, because we'll do it.
We will.
That movie. Sting is freaking hilarious. The Harkonnen are so funny in that movie. They're so weird. Sting is the GOAT. I love that guy. But on a serious point, the visions of the future that Paul's having of Shani, the Fremen girl who he's ultimately going to fall in love with, and the other things, the Fremen war of the Fremen versus the Harkonnen and stuff. It's all very predictable things that are going to happen. But this is a very like what is the word I'm looking for? A nuanced scene of Paul having these alternate prophetic visions, right? When he has to fight, was it Jameis? Because basically Jameis calls out he wants a fade, right? Because Lady Jessica disarmed him. He feels disrespected. So he's like, who's her champion? Obviously, it's going to have to be Paul because he's not going to fight a woman. And Paul, dude, I think this is one of the most genius scenes of the film. Spoiler alert. Paul has that alternate future of when Jameis is his mentor. You know what I mean? Like he's teaching him the way of the Fremen, like the guy that he's about to get in this fight to the death with. He sees an alternate future where that guy is his Fremen mentor. I'm like, dude, that was the most intelligent thing. And we won't say how the fight plays out, but it's fairly obvious. If you've seen the first movie, you've read the book, you know what happens. Obviously, Paul does become a Fremen initiate, so it's very obvious who won that fight. But just that alternate future, dude, again, I was crapping my pants in the theater thinking like, oh my God, in an alternate future, that guy's Paul's Fremen mentor. That's crazy. Knowing how the scene plays out, that is crazy. Like, that's what makes Dune so nuts is it's almost like the whole Terminator thing of the multiple timelines at once, like Paul seeing all those futures where each one has a different outcome. That's what makes Paul the most interesting character in science. I've been raving about Dune to Mac for freaking 10 years, guys, and he went and watched the original, and I always telling him like, dude, this craps on Star Wars. It's way more intricate, religion-wise, mythos-wise. It has the Arabic names, it has the Arabic references, it has all these mystical religions of Earth. It's all in there. Yeah. Every single thing that you could want, it's all in there. You know what I mean? So,
especially when you read about how Frank Herbert came up with the whole idea of it and why he wrote it originally as well. I won't go into it now because we could do a whole show just on that in itself.
Yeah, maybe we'll,
mad in
maybe
depth.
we will. I want to find that documentary about when they were trying to make Dune the first time, and because I don't know if it's on YouTube, but if anybody knows the name of that documentary or where I can find it, please leave that in the comments because I'll be doing that. Then, of course, there's the comic books. I think they released some prequel comic books to the film, if I'm not mistaken. I need to go find those as well. But I don't know, guys. Just whatever you got, lay it on out there. We've covered a lot. So
I mean, pretty much it's just what it is, man. It's something that's the universe is more epic than Star Wars, obviously.
Way more.
Those Star Wars, it pretty much was influenced by a lot of other films and a lot of other stories also.
Yeah.
Dune was just something that's just compiled, with a bunch of ideas that are today's world, but they progressed into a more futuristic, collage here and created, an epic universe. And
yeah, I mean, I gotta say the whole indigenous theme, would you really have an Avatar without Dune? Because they really made that whole thing of the indigenous planetary native race, and it's like, yeah, but I'm sorry, the way that the Fremen shows you, basically the metaphor of colonization of the white Europeans coming to America, killing off this indigenous race. I don't know if I've ever seen a better metaphor than Dune. You know what I mean? And it might be hard for you to wrap your head around because it's a desert planet, and then even Tatooine being a desert planet and Luke's origin, you could even say that's a little nod to seems like that could be a little bit nod to Arrakis, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which is the reason why I hated Avatar, so yeah.
Got him! Sorry, James Cameron.
Sorry, you failed on that, buddy.
But well, let me just get you guys' opinion on the pacing of the film then, because it starts out, it says part one. That threw a lot of people for a boomerang because they didn't know what was going on, and then it kind of drifts off into this final act. So were you guys cool with it just splitting off at the end and waiting for part two, or did you feel like you wanted more?
I mean, obviously it's going to leave you wanting more. Like when you get immersed into a story like that, it will definitely want you, have you wanting more. But
yeah,
I thought it was good for what it was because I know that it's not the full story that they gave us, but you can tell that, it's not over yet. There's going to be more. And I'm sure when that second one drops, man, it's going to start off something, revolutionary. So
yeah, once those fights start, I should probably bring 3 or 4 pairs of pants into the theater for that one, huh?
Oh, definitely, man.
Because I don't know how I'm going to make it through.
I think you need your safety pants
left if you want some of that, man.
Yeah, and stabilizers as well.
If anybody from the audience can mail me some of those adult diapers for Dune Part 2 and Dune Part 3, Dune Messiah, I think I'm going to need several if you guys have seen this first film. I mean, this is 1965. It looks like it's the first edition, 1977, 1983, and then 1984. They did some, it looks like mine is like a new version that they did for the Lynch film. So this is way before Star Wars, guys. So please get on our level. Let me guys know when you read all 6 of these, and then I'll consider you worthy to have Dune conversation with me. Until then, go back to watching Star Wars anime on Disney Plus because this is just not the channel for you.
Exactly.
So part 2, you guys are ready for it?
Yeah, you already know, man. I'm ready for it.
Matt, you got this.
Me and Gaz, I'll speak for us, Gaz. Me and Gaz are ready for this one, man. So you already know, man. We probably gonna shit our pants on the next one. Man.
It's Matt, the hive mind. Okay, who, just give me who are you guys like favorite characters? Did you think anybody was a standout, or if you had a favorite?
I'll go for Josh Brolin, man. His character was definitely like hardcore.
Don't
get me wrong, like I wanted to say this before while you guys are mentioning the comparisons. I thought Patrick Stewart was more. His presence is more commanding. You know.
Yeah, that was
like
it. Yeah.
He's a very senior officer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He actually has that mentor vibe to him. But Josh Brolin, though, he has that mentor vibe to him also, but he's more aggressive and more like hardened, battle hardened.
Yeah, like my commando, isn't he? Yeah.
Exactly. I like what he said about the Harkonnen, like you don't know you don't know what you're facing, Paul. Like they're not human, they're pure evil. You know what I mean? Almost gives you like that World War II enemy vibe, like just like an enemy that's not going to give up, and they're almost like the Helghast, like you guys are saying. They're just going to keep coming in swarms, and they're not going to show emotion or mercy.
Just going back to the previous point before I answer this one, the way it ended. I thought the pacing was fine. I thought it was perfectly balanced. Of course, like Max said, of course I wanted more. But it didn't make me feel angry. I know there's some people have been saying, a little bit of a weak finale. I mean, it almost could have looked like, I guess, a taxi shot scene where you're just seeing a sandworm go past. All of a sudden, all you're missing is the rider on top saying, hop on board now if you want to lift, man. But
they had the rider on it when he had the vision.
Oh yeah, he did.
He saw him ride it. Yeah. Spoiler alert.
But I think that set it up perfectly for what's coming in part 2. A spoiler alert: when we're going to see, I'll just say the Fremen. And if you've seen the 1984 movie, you know exactly what we're all talking about here. But just the way sandworms are used by the Fremen, that will be so sick and mad insane in part 2. And as you said, you will need 5 pairs of pants. You will poo yourself more than I've pooed hearing various music albums. I think you're going to need stabilizers on the seat to keep her in place, and just to top it off, a bucket beneath you as well, just in case you blow through, man, because it's going to have that effect on you.
Yeah, I agree.
You're going to be Ross Poo My Pants.
I mean, my only problem, is where it ended on that that Paul versus Jameis or whatever his name was, Fremen duel, because in the book that's just like a quick Paul initiation fight, and even the way they had it in Dune 1984, and Denis trying to build it up like Paul is finally going to see combat and get in his first epic duel, and it's like, okay, that was a cool way to end part 1, but that fight is 30 seconds long compared to the wars that are coming up. These giant battles, the Fremen versus the Sardaukar, and all these. What you're about to see is gonna pale. That fight is gonna pale in comparison. And also, I wanted to see Fade Rotha. I believe he's maybe the nephew of or I guess the Beast. Batista was the nephew of Baron Harkonnen. But he's his cousin or whatever, the guy that Sting plays in part 1. I really wanted to see his character because I just wanted to see who was going to play him after Sting.
In fact, I think if it would have ended that way, just showing who was going to play him, then cut it off right there. Then I think
that would have been for me. But I don't think he's writing it just for one random Sting fanboy like me. So as much as I appreciate you, Denis, it's all good. We appreciate it. Do you guys have anything else on Dune?
Yeah, I think my favorite character, and the reason why was probably, I forgot her name now, Sarah, Paul's mother,
Lady Jessica.
And the reason being is because she's trained Paul in ways of the voice, and like she is aware and knows what the Bene Gesserit's agenda is, which, as you rightly said, is completely separate.
Well,
but
I believe they left that ambivalent, that she knows some of the agenda, but I think the Reverend Mother even knows more of the agenda than Lady Jessica does.
Definitely.
Because Lady Jessica's like a high priestess, but she's not like the top of the ancient order. So,
but she's got an idea, and she knows that they're the dangerous. But she also is aware that her son, I'm not even going to mention his sister at this point. But that her son is special, and that is also a danger. And if things don't go the way
rolling the dice,
rolling the dice,
Anakin
Skywalker saga.
He checked her on teaching him the voice, because that was part of the test. Like you guys were saying, the pain box, putting his hand in the pain box, and when she tested him, she came out and checked Lady Jessica. Like, you've been teaching him the voice. Like, that's, like the Bene Gesserit are not supposed to teach anyone but initiates their powers.
And that's what I like. It's like she was showing that struggle, and even the part where they were taking on, like, I guess the prison transport ship, and they used the voice to overpower the two.
When Paul was finally able to use it,
and you see a sign of that. So that's for the reason why she really caught my attention, because I thought she really showed that emotion. And that she's aware that there's basically this danger all around, not just the Harkonnen.
I was very impressed with Rebecca Ferguson's performance. I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything before. Quite frankly, I said it before, right? I thought she had a better performance than Timothée Chalamet. Like, people are making these. And again, I think it's just because Paul Atreides is such an epic. He's like seeing like Anakin Skywalker mixed with like, you know what I mean, like Darth Maul or something, you know what I mean? And so people are just like, oh my God, he's such an epic character. But I was like, quite frankly, his mom is cooler than him, and she's the one saving him in every situation. But whatever. Yeah, I mean, so get ready for part 2, guys. It's hopefully it did get green lighted. Last time I checked, Dune was at like, I think almost 230 million box office as of a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Part 2 got green lighted, which was a big thing. Like, is the studio gonna let Denis do part 2? I was like, was that ever a question? As soon as they see the money rolling in, they're gonna kick his door down. Like, does Denis have any more scripts for Dune? You know what I mean? So we all knew it was gonna happen. Let's get real, guys. Dune Part 1, Dune Part 2 coming soon. I'm interested to see what he'll do with Dune Messiah. Quite frankly, Dune doesn't really get epic until you start getting into my chapters, which are children of Dune, and some of these later ones. So I'd really like to see someone go deep. I mean, maybe they should just throw an unlimited budget at Denis and just have him go ham and do all 6 books. I don't care. But that's where I'm at.
I mean, they did that with freaking Twilight. They might as well do it with this one.
I know. The thing is, when you're marketing to 13-year-old kids, you have their parents to bring them to the movie theater 45 times, or the million Harry Potter movies. But I can't get one action sci-fi because, oh my God, Duncan, Idaho, and the Fremen might kill a couple Sardaukar. I mean, if you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. Yet, you have Baron Harkonnen offing people left and right, and I'm sure Dave Bautista's about to go ham. So, you know what I mean?
Look, man, if my thing is this, they have a good story right here. It's best that, story like this even, tries to get as much like exposure as possible, man. Because let's be real, like, Disney's been fouling up a lot of stuff lately, man.
And the Eternals went down like a freaking dude, like a turd. I
freaking hate Marvel, man. Let's just say I took a look at Shang-Chi and
Wang Chi.
Let's just say this, man. The fighting scenes were good in there, but it got a little too Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon for my taste.
Yeah, I wanted to take a look at it. I just didn't get into it yet. I'm busy right now.
Mixed with Forbidden Kingdom.
Well, we might go ahead, guys.
I was going to say, what's going to come on a future episode when Poop Night. They're about to ruin one of my favorite Fartville characters ever. And Blade, we could just come on here live and just do our reactions, and it will just be us just literally
eviscerating it. I think that we're going to be doing Venom 2, Let There Be Garbage, so look out for that, guys. And then I kind of want to see Bond as well. But let's so Dune's mad long, guys. It's 2 hours 35 minutes. Go see it at the theater. It's epic. You guys want to get into some ratings?
Yeah.
I'll let you guys kick it off. It's pretty obvious what mine is.
You go ahead, Gaz.
Oh man, okay, I'll start off. Okay, I'm gonna make.
If you say 1 right now, you're never coming on the show ever again. So choose your words wisely.
I've only done this. Yeah, man, no doubt, fam. I've only done this once before with this rating, and I think it was on Joker.
I could see it coming.
Possibly, I maybe did it on Sicario 2. Did we review Sicario 2?
I don't think we did Sicario 2, but we can. If you guys want us to review Sicario 1 or 2, leave it in the comments.
I'm going to give it a 10. I've only ever done that once before on here. I'm going to give it a 10. And the only criticism I've got is, when we were saying this, if it was just make it R, just R rated, that's all I wanted.
Yeah, it should have been R, but it should have been a hard R. But
for me, this has given us the movie that we have lacked for so long. All these crappy, fartful releases, Disney ruined Star Wars, continue to ruin everything else. And don't get me started on that new crappy version of Predator that's coming out.
Don't get me started on that. Don't you guys seen the Predator review? Go watch it on the channel. Don't make us go back to the Predator franchise.
And Mac's favorite forthcoming movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I mean, so
don't get me started on Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I haven't recovered from Mass 9 yet.
Yeah.
So it was nice that we at long last have a movie that was balanced both in terms of action, story,
Sci-Fi for adults,
spirituality as well. Yeah, exactly. And this is all we wanted, folks. This is what we've been saying for so long. Give us a damn good story and the rest will follow. Not just all flashy filler effects and popcorn cheese. A good story. And at long last we got one. So boom, 10 out of 10. Go peep it.
Yeah, real quick, Mac, before you go. I mean, they're calling it like Game of Thrones in space. My real worry with this movie, guys, because I've been preaching to Mac and Gaz about the Dune verse for years, is that the audience wasn't going to understand it. Because, wait a minute, there's a Baron and a Duke and an Emperor, and where's Luke Skywalker? I'm getting confused. That was my worst fear, is like, you guys weren't going to get it. You weren't going to support it in the theater, and then it was just going to bomb, and they weren't going to do anything else with it. But I'm so happy that it did well. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, well, that's why they got books and to read them. Anyway, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for this one, I'll give it like I'm gonna say between 9.5 and 10. So I'll say a 9.8.
Nice.
It's a good rating. It's a good solid rating.
Just because story was real good. It reminded me, some parts of it reminded me of the old Doom. Not to mention, the Apocalypse Now references and
so sick.
And, make it more war-like, which is what I like. Apocalypse Now is by far one of my top 5 favorites. I don't know if anybody knew that, but
it's my number 1 favorite.
Oh hell yeah, man! Yeah, man. I think it's a pretty fair score and all that. All the actors did good.
I agree.
Everyone mentioned, of course, Josh Brolin and Dave Bautista, and everyone else, and Timothy Chalamet could, okay, what I mean?
He's good. I mean, I wouldn't say it wasn't the most it wasn't Marlon Brando. You know what I mean? It wasn't crazy.
I'm not expecting Marlon Brando. Look at him. I'm not expecting Marlon Brando.
Got him!
You know what I mean? But I'll say this much, though. Just for a jab of what Gaz said to me and all that, man. Check out for Gaz's new favorite film from Timothy, known as the Willy Wonka remake, coming through in 2023. I got it.
He owed you one, Gaz. You got him on the freaking the Face Off remake. Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, because it's hard to shine in a movie with Oscar Isaac, Skarsgård, Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin. Freaking, we already knew that Javier Bardem. I expect Stilgar to go absolutely, because Stilgar is awesome in Dune 1984. Honestly, when I read the book, I think Stilgar was my favorite character. I was like, this is the coolest guy in the freaking universe. It's not going to surprise you guys because I'm a Baron Harkonnen fanboy. I'm a Dave Bautista fanboy. I'm a fanboy of everybody I just mentioned, as well as Denis. I'm a 9 out of 10 on Dune 2021.
Nice.
It's a little bit long. It's fire. Cinematography epic. The costumes are epic. If this doesn't sweep the Oscars, dude, I'm rioting, dude. I'm going to burn every copy. I'm setting every copy of Crash I have on fire. Costume, friggin' cinematography, sound editing, score, the filming, dude. Like this guy is the best new director. Actually, I want to check out Arrival. I don't know if you guys have seen Arrival. Have you seen Arrival, Mac?
Yeah.
Arrival. You talking about the
Arrival by Denis, not The Arrival, but Arrival by it's the Denis Villeneuve Sci-Fi that he did before Blade Runner 2029. I think it's Forrest Whitaker, isn't it, Gaz?
He's
and Jeremy Renner, I think.
Jeremy Renner. And
I heard it's dope. I haven't seen that one. I want to check it out. I want to check out the Dune comics. If you have any Dune lore, media that I can fanboy on, such as the comics or the doc I mentioned earlier, or The Arrival, I want to check that out too. Let me know what you think in the comments. Good, guys.
And if there's any game developers out there, please bring us some kind of like first-person co-op game where we could use all the vehicles, players, the factions, but on Arrakis. That would be insane. And
FPS or RTS or squad game. Please take our money. Please take our money. We're begging you. Take our money. Take my money. Take my money.
Dune would definitely be a good RTS.
Well, they made, me and Gaz were talking off air. They made a couple, but it was like, I think it was 2000, right? Dune 2000, and it was a long time ago. But shout out to Westwood, though. I do love those guys. They made the Blade Runner game. That's everything on Dune Part 1, guys. Make sure you check it out in the theaters. Get the books, nerd out on the video games, the comics, whatever you find. Dune makes Star Wars look like freaking Disneyland Fantasia fruitcake stuff. Of course, you can check out the old Dune. We're going to try to do Venom Poo, Let There Be Garbage. You can check out our Venom 1 review. I do want to check out that Bond and see if he went SJW on us.
It's meant to be all right, actually.
Think there's much else coming out, is there, guys? Certainly not what we watch. I think Scott Adkins has the one shot out. That's like an action movie that they filmed all.
Oh yeah, there is something.
I want to check that out because it's all filmed from what basically like one go. They just filmed the whole thing, which sounds pretty cool.
And now we're live. I forget the name of it. I think it's Rain something, whatever, the new Donnie Yen movie.
Oh yeah, I'm always up for him. I've seen him.
Yeah, we could do that, man.
Of course, the book of Boba Fett is coming out. I mean, if Robert Rodriguez is doing that, we'll cover it. That's going to be the only fart wars that we cover over here, guys. We're not fart war guys anymore over here.
Yeah.
Other than that,
kickstart the Mandalorian right after, so they better shoot.
Yeah.
They're what?
Hopefully they kickstart the Mandalorian right after it. So
I don't know what they're doing over there with that, but let's see. I mean, I'm really worried about Ghostbusters, guys. You can ask Mac on Twitter sometime how big of a Ghostbusters fanboy I am. I'm just out of control. So I don't know, that one might break my heart. I don't know if I can handle watching.
All I'm going to say, I had the displeasure of seeing Ghostbusters 2016 in a theater. Yes, I actually sat through it, and I'm still suffering in pain from that.
How we let Gaz back on the show after he watched that, guys, is still a mystery. I have a theory that he's been replaced with a clone, and that's not even Gaz. We do have Dolph Lundgren and Scott Adkins' Castle Falls coming up, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll do that.
That was from the Boston. Oh, real quick, when Paul Atreides was on Caladan and he had his hand in the water, that was actually Norway. I've been to Norway. Gaz has been to Norway. I wanted to mention some of the filming locations. So if you guys are into filming locations and being nerds like we are, check that. I mean, the way they had the planets, and obviously Caladan being the juxtaposition of Arrakis, because Dune is a desert planet and Caladan's a water planet. Just every little detail, guys. Like, there's nothing to be left wanting in this film other than the sequel and the rest of the story. You know what I mean? Like, he literally gave you everything. And other than that, I really don't see much coming out. Probably some Donnie Yen stuff, probably some Scott Adkins stuff, guys. We watch action, we watch Grindhouse. I guess there's Morbius. I thought the Morbius trailer was okay. I didn't think it was crazy whack. The Batman, I don't know. We'll cover it. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. But my final thought on Dune is I honestly, when I saw the trailer, I was just kind of like, what? Oh, Top Gun Maverick. We'll definitely be covering that next year. When I saw the Dune trailer, I was just like, those first couple teasers, I was kind of like, I wasn't blown away by it.
Same.
Think that was, he did that perfectly. He didn't really show us too much. And, all the best stuff was left in the movie. And that's a big problem with trailers. I don't want to see all the best scenes in the trailer. You know what I mean?
Exactly, because I remember when you sent me the trailer and I was like, meh, not
yeah, you're kind of like, whatever. And I was like,
yeah.
dude, trust me, like, this guy knows what he's doing. Also, I don't know if you guys mess with Honest trailers. Footprints Workshop, that's my dude. Origin. And he does some amazing Dune, Terminator, Aliens animation on his channel. Origin, get at me, dude. I'd love to do a voice for you on one of those projects. We're just wrapping up the Dune 2021 review, Origin. So we'll give it a spin back when we're done. Honest trailers. So what I'm going to do on this episode is I'm going to post the Dune trailer at the beginning of this video, and then I'm going to post the Honest trailer at the end of this video. I wouldn't say it's his best Honest trailer. I don't know if you guys watched it yet, but it is funny. He did roast Dune pretty badly. So shout out to
I wanted to do his review before I even watched that. So
it's funny, bro. It's funny. Shout out to Honest Trailers. I love that guy. And Cinema Sins too. Those guys are funny too. They just did Ghostbusters 1. All right, we're out. I'm gonna try to screen Venom Poo, Let There Be Garbage soon. We'll get back on our fartful roast for you guys. Dune 2021 Part 1. Denis Villeneuve and Frank Herbert. You guys know who's epic in it. It's amazing. I think it's probably film of the year. It's probably my movie.
Easy.
Yeah. I thought it was crazy, man. So let us know what you think in the comments. Are you ready for Dune Part 2? Have you read the book? Do you like the comics? Can we get some video games? Is anybody going to take my money? All right, we're out.
Peace.
Catch you guys next time. Shout out to Origin.